The Rich Niche Leads System. So we're here because we actually recorded this video years ago, and it's finally time to record the Rich Niche 2.0. We have made a lot of updates to this in the past, I would say, year and a half. So it's finally time to really introduce you to the new and improved Rich Niche Lead System. The Rich Niche Lead System is all about getting the right leads in who are ready to buy, who are ready to move forward. So to back up a little bit about us, I am the founder, Nicole, and this is my husband, Dan, of Elevated. And our entire goal is to help founders like you grow wildly profitable and wildly fun businesses. And the reason why we do that is because we talk about profit and we talk about fun, because profit is something that not enough people are talking about, and fun is probably part of the reason why you started a business. So we help founders grow their businesses and enjoy what they're doing, because the truth is, you are special. If you are here, then I know that you are making an impact on the world, and that it's really important for you to get your message out there to more people. And we want to do that in a way that helps you make money and really takes the pressure off of what you're doing. So our intention for you is to be able to have a business that is working, that you know is working, because I know that you probably are a little bit of a rebel and like to do things your own way. And we're like that too. We have guidelines for all of our clients, and we have systems and we have processes, but we're always going to match that with what is right for you and what's in alignment for you. Because the truth is, your business is like a fingerprint. Every single business is unique, and we help you scale your business and find your rich niche lead system and do it in a way that works for you. So our whole team is here to support you, and we're really excited about this. The whole reason why we created the rich niche lead system was because first of all, I don't like to work that hard, and I like to get the most from the least. And years ago, we had a Facebook ads agency, and going back even further, I was a teacher who quit my job to run a food business. We started thinking about the people who were ready to buy now. And we started to say, like, what if instead of being in this convincing mode of just like working so hard to get in front of more people, working so hard to get people to talk back, working so hard to educate people around what we do, what if we could create content and talk to the group of people who would literally say, tell me more about that? And the group of people who would say, oh, I want that. And if you think about your buying behavior, you probably do this all the time. It's literally while you're on Instagram or while you're on TikTok, and you click from a TikTok or a reel that you have seen, and you clicked on the profile because you want to binge their content. You want to learn more about them. And chances are you have been on these platforms and said, I want that. So our job is to help you create that for your people, create that experience for your people, where people are reading what you have to say and watching your videos and watching your training and going to your profile and saying, oh, tell me more about that. And after you tell them more, they're saying, yes, I want that. We call that the yes moment. We want to help all of our clients create that yes moment, because the more yes moments you can create, honestly, the easier sales are going to be. And that is the truth. And because all of you here, I know us, and the more sales we get, that translates to the more good we can do. So that's why we're really, really invested, and we're really motivated, and we are really empowered by helping you create more of that yes moment. And how we do that is with the Rich Niche Lead System. So I would love to know, and I know that we're not live, but I always encourage people who are watching our videos and watching our trainings to go through this like it is live, because that's how you will get the most out of this. So I would love to know, how are you getting leads right now? Are you just posting to get leads? Are you doing the organic thing? Are you doing ads? And are those leads saying to you, tell me more? So I want you to rate yourself right now. If you are a green, then that would mean I'm getting quality leads who are saying, I want that, tell me more every single day in your business. If you're a yellow, then maybe you're getting some quality leads, but maybe you're getting leads where you're like, I'm not sure if you are the right people. And if you're a red, that would be, my biggest opportunity is to get more of the right people into my world ASAP. And this is what we're going to help you with in this video. So I would just write down what color you are, because our goal for this video is to help you get clarity so you can get to a green with clarity, at least by the end of this video. So I would love to know, and this is all around like just setting goals. We're really big on setting goals and giving yourself permission. So I want to grant you permission to grant yourself permission to set your wildest goal right now. And to really think about, where do I want to be in a month from now, in 3 months from now, in 6 months from now? And what do you need to have in place to do this? Because a lot of people who come to us, they say, I need to have the lead system. I need to have the leads flow coming in so I can get to my goal. And this is what I was just saying. It would be how much easier. I'm not going to tell you how much easier. How much easier would it be if you had the steady flow of leads who are continually saying, I want that and tell me more, coming into your business every single day? If you were able to have conversations with people that already knew that they needed to solve their problem now. And we always like to show you proof, because it's not just about us that has done this, it's our clients too. And something shifts when you focus on your rich niche leads. So again, using the stoplight, how confident are you that there's buyers in your audience right now? Are you a green where you're like 100%? Are you a yellow where you're like, yes, I just need the right messaging to get through to them? Or you're red where you're like, this is one of my bigger opportunities. And this was one of my favorite, this was actually posted on Facebook. And this is one of my favorite comments, because this was a completely free training. This was actually very meta, because this was the 1.0 version of what we did. And this was a huge breakthrough for this person. And that's exactly what we help you with, is helping you work on your messaging so you can attract that rich niche. So we're going to walk through, Dan's going to walk you through exactly the rich niche. And the basic sentence that you need to know is, the rich niche audience, they are the people who are ready to buy now. And they're my favorite segment, because they're the people who are already like, I want that, tell me more. They're already shopping. And we're always working on this. This is from years ago. This is actually from 2 years ago. And we have gone through many different versions to finally settle on our rich niche. And chances are you might have even gotten here because you've listened to our private secret podcast. And we keep iterating on this and improving. And this is something you will be able to do as well. So we are going to get into the rich niche.
Yeah. All right. So this is a circle. And what this represents is, this circle is your audience. And I get my girls were playing with our iPad because this is extremely thick. So this circle represents your entire audience. And what most people are doing is they're speaking to their entire audience, which is fairly normal. I think you say, hey, this is my niche, I'm going to speak to these people. But what we want to talk about in today's training is understanding that there's actually different segments of your audience that have different ingredients. They have different desires. They have different motivations. They even have different results. And based on this information, we need to be speaking to them differently, and we need to be moving them differently. So I'm just going to draw a few lines on this to break this down. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at motivation. Oh my gosh, I need to fix this. And I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the first thing we're going to look at is motivation. There we go. That's a little thinner. And we have to understand that some of our people in our audience have no desire to make a change. And we also have to recognize that some people do. Now, on the flip side, we are going to look at results. And specifically, what happens when our people take action? There are some people in our audience, whether we are speaking to health, wealth, relationships, whatever it is, whatever there's people in your audience who are actually thriving. They're doing pretty well. They're getting some results. And then on the flip side, there are those that are struggling. So now that we have this understanding that there are different motivations, desires, everything in your audience, we have 4 different segments in our niche that we can talk to and that we are talking to. And so what we want to break down is exactly what each person, what each niche, what each segment is, and why that is, and what we should be doing with them. So I'm going to start down here on the bottom right. And these are the people who are actually doing pretty well, but they have no desire to change. And the best way that I like to talk through this is I like to share a story. And when we had our Facebook ads agency, I would occasionally get on sales calls with someone and they would have a great business. And I'd get really excited and I would start talking to them. Oh my gosh, if we set up a Facebook ad system and you start spending some money on Facebook ads, you are going to see a ginormous change in your business. You're going to make more money. You're going to have all this great stuff. And they would just look at me and they could not care less. They were perfectly careless. And what's interesting is that they were already doing fine and they had no desire to change. So there was nothing I was going to do to get them into the call or get them into the program. I'd always come out of these sales calls almost bewildered and like stumble in Nicole and she'd be like, what happened? I'd be like, man, we really could have helped them, but they just had no desire to make a change. And she was just like, all right, no follow-up, nothing. We can't change those people.
And it's actually funny because after we made the rich niche and Dan would come out from those sales calls and he would still be really jazzed because his heart is so big. And I'd be like, Dan, don't you see they are in the careless column? They're in the careless category. And he'd be like, oh yeah, okay.
So the careless category, it is that kind of almost fun category because it doesn't happen all that often. And it is a little bit surprising that you find someone who's doing so well and doesn't have a desire to change. On the flip side, this is where we see the most problems in the industry, especially when it comes to online marketing, is we have these people who they also have no desire to change, but these people are struggling. So they are struggling with no desire to change. The problem with these people, if you speak to this quadrant, you are going to get no sales because these people are not buyers. And that sounds fine, but the problem is that 80% of the marketing out there is speaking to this quadrant. And what the lie that has been sold is that if you get really good at marketing, you can actually push these people from having no desire to actually having a desire for change. This happens all the time that we're speaking to those people who are just almost behind the ball, whether it's in weight loss or fitness or education or, finance. We always speak to the people who need the most amount of help. They are struggling so hard. And we think our marketing can become so advanced that we can actually push them into this top left quadrant. The problem with this quadrant is when you push people into this quadrant, they are still struggling and now they have a desire to change because you've convinced them to have a desire to change. The problem with this is that when you convince them to have a desire to change, you also have to convince them to take action with the thing they're actually paying you for. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. How many times has someone bought from you when you've convinced them to work with you and then they come into the program and they take no action and then they get no results and then they complain that they haven't gotten the results that they were promised even though they haven't done the work to get those results? This is a really big problem because these people, they are the people who just need convincing. And the problem with this is that if you're watching this video, I can basically guarantee that you're a heart-centered, service-oriented entrepreneur, and you want to get your people amazing results. So when someone comes in and pays you money and they don't get the results that were promised, even though that is not your fault, you take on responsibility for this and you start thinking, oh my gosh, did I do something wrong? Is there something wrong with my service? Is there something wrong with my program? What did I do wrong here? In all reality, you didn't do anything wrong, but you carry this weight into your sales now. And now the sales get harder and harder to do. And now the results get worse and worse. And so this can lead to a vicious spiral where things just get harder and harder and harder. And we see this all the time, that people show up and they're just like, they have this baggage of weight on their back.
And you might also notice this if you're in this category, where you may have done like a launch, or you may have done a challenge, or you may have done a webinar, and you just feel like you're in this energy of just like pushing people along and convincing them. And if you've ever finished a launch or a webinar or a challenge where you didn't get the results you thought you would, and you're just so physically exhausted, then chances are you are in this category.
Yeah, that's a good point, because a lot of times in your marketing, you're actually you're energetically pulling the people along, and it is exhausting. So it does take a lot out of you. And the crazy thing is that when we flip this around, when we start speaking to this quadrant of the people that are actually doing pretty well and still want to do better, this is what can change an entire business just by changing, like, just a little tweak, just shifting it over here. And so this is really where we can lead to talking to people who are in our rich niche. These are the people who are actively looking for a solution to their problem, and they're willing to take fast action. That means they're willing to buy quickly, but they're also willing to take quick action inside the program. So when they come in, they can get those results really quickly. They might even get better results than you expected, and they'll do it before you even think they can. And so this is what gets us really exciting, is because just as when we talked about over here in the convincing category, we kind of have that weight piling on us. This is actually building us up. This is actually building a spiral of profit. We're going every week, it's getting better. We're speaking to a higher level buyer. Those buyers are coming in and taking action and getting amazing results. That's giving us more confidence to go out and sell with confidence. It's giving us testimonials. It's giving us renewals. It's giving us referrals. And so this is where a business can really start to take off, just by making this small little tweak in messaging.
And the other thing, when you go from the convincing, where you're continually in the cycle of exhaustion, when you flip over to the rich niche, this is where I see all of you, and this is our intention for you. Because when you are focused on your rich niche, what you will notice is you actually come out of these things feeling energized. And what our intention is for you is that your business will actually make you feel more alive and more excited, not more exhausted. So if right now you're in this space where you're feeling more and more exhausted and more burnt out, it may be because you're in convincing. And we really want to help you get to the other side, because this is where you are feeling more and more energized, and you're feeling more and more alive and more successful in your business.
Yeah. And so at this point, whenever we do this training live, at this point, people start to get in their heads and they really start to worry about things. And the first worry that comes up says, I can't alienate the rest of my audience by speaking to these people who are doing well. And it's not about turning anyone off. It's not about saying no to anyone. It's just speaking to that person who is doing well and wants to do better. And so what's going to happen when you start doing this is you're going to have people start to come to you and say, hey, could you help me? Am I actually qualified to work with you? So it flips this whole thing around. Instead of you trying to convince people to buy from you, they're coming to you and trying to convince you to work with them.
And the other thing that happens is when you start targeting and talking to your rich niche, you start raising yourself up, and your audience will want to come up to meet you instead of you going down to meet them. So your rich niche audience is actually aspirational. It is not going to alienate. It's actually going to unify and actually make the people who are meant to work with you rise to the occasion.
Exactly. And so the next question we usually get is like, I'm not sure my industry even has a rich niche. And if I do have a rich niche, I'm not sure if those people have any problems. Well, the first thing is you definitely have a rich niche in your industry. You can definitely speak to these people. The second thing is, yes, rich niche, the people in your rich niche do have problems. They are just different. So now it becomes your job to understand, what problems do my rich niche have? What is it that they have? What is it they want? What are their problems? And now our goal is just to elevate our messaging to talk to them more. I don't think you're ever going to do this 100% of the time, but the goal is just to spend more time speaking to your rich niche and less time speaking to these other quadrants. When you do this consistently, you're going to have people coming in and saying, oh my gosh, I'm looking up to you. I want to be like you. I want to be like your clients. I want those results. Am I qualified? Can I work with you? How does that work? Or bringing it back to where we started, tell me more. Just saying more, having more people say, tell me more. I want that. That's exactly what we're going after.
So I know the next question, which this is exciting because this is where the 2.0 comes in. In the 1.0, in the original Rich Niche video, we stopped here. But what we have learned in the 18 months or however long it's been since recording Rich Niche 1.0, here's the 2.0, because people started asking, well, what do I do next?
Yeah, so this is it. What do I do next? So what we need to do is two things. First, we need to find our rich niche and understand what they have and what they want. And then the second step is we need to start creating content that's going to build our rich niche. Now, what we were saying for the last 2 years or so is that your job is to go out and find your rich niche. That is true. That is the first step, and I'm going to walk you through that. But this second step actually gets me so excited because what we figured out is that we were actually building a rich niche. And this is something we just really figured out. Well, I figured it out in September of 2022 when I started analyzing the content that Nicole had been creating over the last 8 months. Specifically, we had one opt-in that had a 10 times return on ad spend. We spent about $45,000 on Facebook ads in 6 months on this one opt-in, and it made us over $500,000. And I, as the Facebook ads manager of the business, as the data guy, I needed to understand what the heck was going on here that we were able to make this much money from this one opt-in. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, we've created a rich niche. We're not just finding rich niche anymore. We are creating people in a rich niche. So let's take this down into 2 pieces.
And before Dan goes into the next part, if you are sitting here, I know it's very meta, saying, tell me more, and I want this for myself, then click the link and fill out the form for this, because we will do a free session with you. We're calling them Elevated CEO sessions, where we help you figure out and nail down your rich niche lead system. So you can pause the video and go fill that out and then come back, because if you know you want this, then fill that out.
Yeah. So this next piece is going to be very simple. I'm going to walk you through our example of how we found our rich niche, and then you can take it and make it your own. The second step is a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to do like a 10,000 foot view of it to go over everything. And then we can dig a little bit deeper into this on your one-to-one call. So the first thing that we're going to do in order to find who our rich niche is, we have to look at 2 things. What does our rich niche have? And what does our rich niche want? Now, in our example, when we look at our people, there are 3 things that our people already have. So this is before they work with us, before they find us. This is what's going on in their reality before they find Nicole. So what do they have? The first thing they have is results. They are getting their clients results. They know who they serve. They know how to serve them. The next thing they are getting is they have sales. And so the sales are coming in, they're putting the work in, they're getting some sales. And they have an offer that's converting. They know what to sell. They know how to sell it. Now, when we look at this, and Nicole and I analyzed it, we said, how could we summarize this? Someone who gets results, they get sales, they have an offer. What does that make them? Well, that makes them an expert. So the first thing that we did before we did anything else is in our content, we started calling out experts. We started saying, hey, if you are an expert, we know you have these problems, and we know you have these wants. So the next step is to understand, what do experts want? And when we analyzed it by looking at our clients, by talking to our audience, and so this is the other thing. People always ask, but how? You have to have actual conversations. You can think about this a lot, but you have to have actual conversations with your people, whether that's over DMs, phone calls, clients, any way you can talk to someone in person, whatever you can do it. So we had to figure out, what is it that these people want? So we looked at our clients, we talked to our audience, and we figured out what they wanted conversations and engagement from their audience. which was interesting because we always assumed that people wanted a larger audience. But when we nailed it down to our experts, they didn't really care about audience size. They cared about conversations and engagement. The second thing they wanted was consistent sales. Again, very interesting to us because a lot of people came to us and they said, I'm getting sales, but I'm on the launch roller coaster and it's driving me insane. It's up and down, up and down. It's a terrible way to live. There were also people who were on this feast and famine cycle, a lot of one-to-one people who just had really great businesses and they would fill up their one-to-ones, be at a plateau, lose some one-to-ones, fill them up again. And it was like up, plateau, down, up, plateau, down. And so there's different types of cycles, but the consistent sales was extremely important to them. And in addition to that, they would love a system to follow to get consistent sales. And then the third thing they wanted was time. They were completely maxed out, whether it was on the launch cycle or the one-to-one cycle or somewhere in between. Even if they were doing a group program, they needed to get time back. They were maxed out. And so because they were maxed out on time, they weren't really sure how to work on their conversion or their leads without giving up more of their time. So we had to work through that. So the first thing we did, we looked at is like, can we do this? Can we help with conversations engagement? Well, yeah, conversations engagement. We love talking about that. The rich niche, our fast cash funnels, our conversations, we're all about that. The consistent sales, we evergreen sales. We want everyone to get sales every single week as much as possible. And then the time, we're running a 7-figure business with 3 kids on a limited time schedule. We work about 10 to 20 hours a week. The time we're all over. So we checked that off the box. Now it was just about a matter of talking about that in our content. So we simply said, if you're an expert and you want one of these things, start talking to us. That is the easiest way to start, is just call them out, say, do you want this? And start having conversations with people. I can help you with that. You want to get your time back? I can help you with that. You want consistent sales? I can help you with that. You want more engagement? You want more conversations? You want your quiet audience talking back to you? I can help you with that. That is the easiest way to start.
So from here, where do you go? Well, exactly what Dan just said. So sit down and map this out for yourself. What is your rich niche? Go back and look at your past ideal clients who have had the most success with you. What did they have? What did they want? And then the next step to this is using our content system that helps you target the rich niche. So because of time, we don't have time to go into that right now, but if you know you want help, then fill out the application and we will set up an elevated CEO session with you. So where do we go from here? It's now your turn to start mapping out your rich niche. And what has been the results of this for us? Well, we've been doing this. Again, I always say I am the self-proclaimed turtle. I've been a CEO since 2011. And once we figured out the rich niche system, before we even knew what we were doing, that's when our business really started taking off. And not only is it important for us, but it's important for our clients as well. And these wins are huge because they're not just revenue wins, but they're life wins too. And remember, when you start doing this, you will feel more alive in your business. You will have more freedom in your business. You will get more time back in your business. And these are the things that really matter to us. So if you want help, set up an elevated CEO system and we will walk you through how you can do this, because inside our program in Elevate, we help you map out these 3 things: the rich niche lead system, fast cash funnel, and scalable sales. So if you want to set up an elevated CEO system, we only release 5 spots at a time, elevated CEO session. So you can click the link around this video if you are watching from your phone, or if you're on a computer, then you can scan the QR code and it will bring you to the application. And this is the whole point. It's building you up, getting you to the yes moment. So you can understand what is the yes moment for your people, and you build a system that's bringing those people in every single day and bringing them to the moment of yes. So there's the QR code. We have a few bonuses when you enroll with us now. One of my favorites, our in-person event, $1 Million Brand, coming up. And here is the link to the application. So go set up your rich niche and good luck.